Hi, my name is Fawn Clark. I'm a nutritional therapist, and today I'm going to talk about fats. What fats to avoid, what fats to include, what fats to cook with, what fats not to cook with. And so, first, a little bit about fats and how they work in the body. Every cell has got a skin around it, a layer around it made up of fats. And the quality of the fats that go into that skin determine how well it functions, how well it communicates with the cell next door to it. So therefore, how well it passes hormones through the next cell, how well it passes proteins through the next cell, how sensitive it is to hormones and to our immune system. So when when the fats that we eat are subpar, our cell membrane will be subpar, and then our health will be subpar. Okay, so if you're getting really good fats into the membranes, making them as optimal as you can, your health is going to be optimal. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but it'll be a big way towards being healthy and vibrant. And thankfully, we're moving away from this idea that fats are bad, and the low fat diet went with high sugar, which had terrible effects on people's health. So look, I'm grateful that people are moving towards a diet that has a healthy amount of fats in it. But now it's about knowing what fats to eat. So we need a balance. We need saturated fats and unsaturated fats. The saturated fats, if we have too much saturated fats, the cell membrane will become too solid and it won't communicate very well. And if there's not enough saturated fats and too much unsaturated fats, it will become too fluid. And again, suboptimal. Okay, so the fats that I cook with, well, my favorite saturated fats would be from animals. So if I'm cooking lamb or beef, I will keep the fat in the fridge and use that for cooking. It's really solid at room temperature or high temperatures, and it tastes delicious. So that would be my favorite fat to cook with, to fry with, or to roast with. If I can get really good free-range chicken or pork, that's really good fat too. So, but I would avoid fats from really intensively reared animals that are perhaps fed a lot of subpar, poor quality food, and maybe have lots of hormones given to them when they were being reared. So another fat that I cook with a lot, is coconut oil. This is an extra virgin cold pressed coconut oil. And it's good, it's solid at room temperature. It's not going to affect your cholesterol levels, and it is it's a lovely flavour and a fat that I cook with all the time. Butter, real butter, is another fat that I use all the time. It's not so stable at very high temperatures. It does tend to burn if you have it too high. But I saute things like, very finely chopped vegetables in butter at a slightly lower temperature, and they're delicious. Another fat that I cook with and that is very healthy is olive oil. Probably best to have it before it's been cooked with, so using it cold, but it is okay to cook with it. I buy extra virgin olive oil. It's the least processed of all the oils. It's so for example, if it's not extra virgin, it's been processed more. That's it in its simplest form. But the most pure one would be the cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. So I use that for salad dressings, and I tend to go for Spanish ones. I find them less peppery than the Greek ones, but shop around. There's loads to choose from. So then we come on to the omega-3s. So omega-3s and omega-6s are the essential fats that we can't make in the body. We have to ingest them from our diet. And omega-6s are found in things like olive oil, sunflower oil, and we tend to have a lot of omega-6s in our diet generally. So people tend not to be needing more omega-6s, but what people do lack is omega-3s. Now, omega-3 fatty acids are found in the likes of hemp seed oil, flaxseed oil. They can both be bought at health food shops, and they are stored in the fridge, and don't cook with them. They're not good for cooking, not stable at all at high temperatures. Another more readily available source of omega-3s is walnut oil. This is in most supermarkets and doesn't need to be stored in the fridge. It's not as unstable as the hemp seed and flaxseed oils, but it's really delicious. I use this a lot on my salads. And another good source of omega-3s is oily fish. So tinned anchovies or mackerel or sardines are really good sources of omega-3s. I would go for fish that are lower down in the food chain, because the likes of tuna and salmon, which are higher up in the food chain, tend to have a buildup of toxins in them. So that's the omega-3s. And obviously you can also get them in nuts and seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, almonds, all those sort of things are really good sources of omega-3s as well. Sunflower oil, I don't tend to use much. I think that there's a lot of sunflower oil already in our general diet. It's neutral, I would say. It's neutral. I would definitely avoid oils that are just, say, vegetable oil, because they're going to be subpar and they're not going to be as good quality as your good quality or your extra virgin olive oils or your walnut oils or your extra virgin coconut oil. So I tend not to. Sunflower oil is better. It's okay to use as part of a salad dressing. I wouldn't be cooking with it, although a lot of things are cooked in sunflower oil, and it can create a thing called free radicals, which are damaging to the body. So so that's my take on sunflower oil. I'd also be avoiding. It's really about the quality of the fats you're having. So I'd be avoiding things like, in a lot of the shop bought pastries, in order to increase shelf life, they put in fats that are stable long term, but they might be good for the product but not so good for our body. So I would be avoiding things like palm oil and things like triglycerides and any ingredients that you don't recognize on a packet. It's okay if you have it every now and again, but as part of a regular diet, it will slowly reduce the quality of the membranes around those cells and affect your health in the long term. So I think most foods now try to avoid having hydrogenated fats in them, but definitely avoid things like hydrogenated fats. And as I said, anything that you don't fully recognize. I think a lot of the fats in chocolate are a little bit dodgy. You can start reading labels and looking at what's in them, and pastries, cakes, that sort of thing. The fats in them aren't great. So I hope that clears things up a little bit for you, gives you something to start with. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's the basics. Take care. Bye now.